What is going on, everyone? I hope every single one of you are having an awesome day. I know I am, and I'm kind of filming late, but my name is Chris, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to take a look around and subscribe. And welcome to, and this is the Coyote Swap channel, where we do a bit of everything, but of course, the hint of the channel is based off my car, the Coyote Swap, and today is that subject. So today's subject is pertaining to questions that I keep getting. Not that I have a problem answering, because we're going to get to it. So, what transmission and how well does my transmission hold up to NA power of the Coyote Swap, or the 5.0, whatever you want to call it? So, the first question I usually get is the same question that every girl asks herself all the time, or her boyfriend, or her significant other, is, where do you want to eat? And that is the same thing for what transmission should I run with a 5.0 swap. Well, that all depends on the factor of the power you were trying to make. So, NA, I'm going to keep this off NA basis because the number one transmission besides an automatic that I would run in these cars is a T56. Now, T56 transmission, if you do not know what that is the 0304 Cobra Trans, or the Terminator, as we will call it. No, not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the 03 to 04 Terminator Cobra that destroyed just about every car from the factory when it came out in 03 and 04. So, enough of that. It is a 6-speed transmission, and a brand new one costs right around $3,000 to $3,500. Now, you can pick up a used one, and they're going to run you, that I've seen about, lucky, a little under $1,000, but you're going to spend about at least $1,500. And that's if it's not beat to hell and needs to be rebuilt. But if I were to buy a T56, I would already just go ahead and rebuild it. And I think stock-wise, it can hold pretty good power amount, because the 0304 Cobra came right around what a Coyote now comes stock from the factory, right around 400 to the wheels. Now, on my basis, well, I have to get gas for this thing, but on my knowledge, for a T56 paired with a Coyote motor is like the dream come true. It is pretty much like Luke Skywalker blowing up the Death Star. The rebels get to live another day, and you get to pull another pull, and the headache in your mind is, I'm not going to blow my transmission. So it comes down to what power you're trying to make. Like I said, we're going to base this off NA. I'm not going to talk about forced induction, because I just gave you the answer. Either you want to happily build automatic, or you want a T56, Magnum, XL, whatever. So my transmission itself is a 3650 transmission. Was used in the early 99 Cobras. They were used in the Mach 1s and the late 012 and 4 GTs. They are the predecessor to the T45 transmission, which is also a 5-speed, which is the predecessor to the Baltimore T5 transmission, which is also a 5-speed transmission. Most commonly found in the Fox bodies, and the T45, I believe, was found in the 96 to 98 GTs. And let's clear this up a little bit. There we go. It is on autofocus. So, how well does my transmission hold up to the power that I put down? Well, we can test out that a little bit without getting too illegal. As I'm wearing a 1320 shirt and hat, I might as well live that life in Mexico. Now, just from a rolling standpoint and in traffic, not that I want to get a ticket or something, and a lot of people around here know this car on where I'm at. So that right there is just a little hint of what this transmission can do. Now, the 3650 transmission, I have heard mixed reviews about that. People hate the shifting. The T45 was easier to shift. That might be with a stock shifter, but at the same time, I have a aftermarket shifter. I have a Pro 5.0, and the MGW transmission, I believe, is the best transmission for the 99 204s. And that makes it a lot easier to shift and not miss shifts and break your synchronizers. I've had this transmission for almost 2 years. This transmission has been bolted up to this motor ever since. Never been switched up, but it has been taken out. So the only problem I had last summer was the clutch itself. I run a McLeod clutch, the Street Extreme, which is said to hold up to 800 torque wheel horsepower. I think it heated together or something. I don't really know what happened, but when we pulled the transmission out and the clutch, pieces of the clutch and the shim and stuff were balled up like little pieces of paper. So the clutch just pretty much exploded. And I've taken my car to the track. I've beat the hell out of this transmission, running through Mexico and stuff like that, racing other cars. And I've never, knock on wood, never had a problem with this transmission. Now, I think it all depends, because these transmissions say from spec, like factory spec, that they can hold up to 360 to 400 foot-pounds of torque. Now, I'm definitely running over more than 400 foot-pounds of torque. But what I'm thinking is it also helps, it also helps how you pair the transmission and what you pair it with. The clutch, you can do aftermarket stuff, but at that point, to build a 3650, I would honestly just spend the money and either have a built T56 or just buy T56, because after you build a 3650, you could have just spent the money or saved up a little more money and got a T56 at that point. So I right now as well run the same clutch that I had in the car before, the McLeod Street Extreme clutch. I have the McLeod clutch fork and the Ford Racing or McLeod Racing throwout bearing, and as much stuff as I can have aftermarket wise to strengthen everything up for the transmission, so that way it doesn't get, it doesn't take as much punishment as it normally would of me driving if everything was stock, because there is no way in hell a stock clutch for this 9904 would handle. And I also have the light and steel flywheel, not the light and aluminum. Now the light and steel flywheel is pretty good. It's also by McLeod, so I went ahead and paired it. There's a lot of other clutch options out there, Exity, Ram, Mantic, so you can pair any of that. And the question here is, how well does it hold up? Well, I can't really give you a straight answer. The only straight answer I can give you is that mine holds up fine to NA power. If I put boost on this, it's just a grenade waiting to happen. And honestly, you can pair any transmission with a modular motor. Any Tremec transmission will go with a modular motor. And for the guys that want to know if an MT82 will work with this motor, you can pair it. But I think the way the shifter sits through the tunnel, you might have to do a little customization. I don't know if you want to go through that. So at that point, I would just literally just stick to a Tremec transmission at that point, because you're just the headache and all that. So the other stuff you can add to the transmission, of course, is a aluminum drive shaft, the Ford Racing one, or the carbon fiber one if you have that, if you're big money. You can also add the Stifler, tubular trans cross mount, which probably won't help, but it just at least keeps it in place. And the thing about the T3650, you do not need the QuickTime bell housing adapter, because it is built to, it has its own bell housing built into it. And I believe you can actually detach the transmission from the bell housing, but it's just kind of built into one. So back to the story of summer, because I was running around like Brian Adams in Summer '69, and a lot of you probably don't know that reference, but oh well. So I was having a blast. I was shifting first, second, third, fourth, and then when I went from third to fourth, all I heard was a boom. And it was not the boom that I wanted to hear. It was not from the Black Eyed Peas, because it was the boom of death. My clutch pretty much went to the shadow realm and signed its own death note. At that point, my Metro card swiped and I took aboard the L train, because my car was down for about a week. But the good thing is, American Muscle helped out, sent the clutch and everything I needed within 1 day. Usually it takes 2 to 3 days in my area for them to ship it. The guys were nice enough to, over there at American Muscle, to go ahead and ship it out the very next day. And I called around 3 o'clock, and we're in the same time zone. So everything usually after 3, they won't, push forward till the next day. But the guy was like, I understand, and got it there, got the transmission out, had everything done in about 6 hours, which is actually pretty impressive. So I hope that answers the questions about the transmission and how well mine can hold up and how well maybe yours will be able to hold up and what options are out there. You can always hit up Google and see what other guys are running, check out some YouTube videos, whatever. But this is going to do it for this video, guys. I can't really speed or anything. There's just too many cars around. But I will, if you guys want, I will do a video with maybe Cedric or something, and we can do a video that's going to do it for this, guys. I hope every single one of you have a great day. Stay awesome. And